Shows Fred Willard, Janet Belushi, and Crystal Farley with headphones on at a radio station. Willard, welcome back to Chicago Sports Talk here on the ESP Radio Network, number one among the psychics. I'm Buck Laughlin, here with Jim Belushi, Bears, Willard, and Todd O'Connor, Farley, Bears, Willard. And before we dive back in the third quarter of Game 3 of the 1985 Bears season, as our loyal listeners know, we've spent the better part of the last several decades analyzing that quarter. But before we get back to that, we do have a fan named Bernard on the line ready to talk some basketball. Are you there, Bernard? Bernie Mac on the phone. Please call me Bernie. Willard. Whoops. Okay. Producer had told me Bernard. Anyway, so it's Ernie, huh? As in Ernie and Bert then? Mac. No, it's Bernie with a B. Willard. Oh, wow. Ernie with a B. Kind of like Cardi B. But in this case, it's Ernie B. Okay, Ernie B, huh? Wow, kind of like Ernie Banks. Belushi. Duck Cubs. Willard. Okay, Ernie B, we heard you had some basketball you wanted to talk about? Mac. Actually, I was hoping to talk about the White Sox. Willard. Okay, sorry about that. Our producer told me you were black, so I assumed you wanted to talk basketball. Anyway, so how about those White Sox, even with a name like Ernie B, huh? Anyway, do you think those Sox will rise again? Mac. Well, I want you to talk a little bit about the back of the rotation, now that Carlos Rodon left the team. Willard. Well, you know what I always say about baseball. If it helps you last longer, then it's worth it to take all those steroids, even if they do shrink your balls, okay? So, fellas, what do you think about the back of the Sox rotation? Belushi. Duck Cubs. Farley. After halftime, Jim McMahon was down 17-9 and heroically returned to the game and unleashed a bomb caught by Willie Galt for a 70-yard touchdown. Bears. Willard. Okay, Ernie B., well, thanks for joining us. Great to be talking baseball again. And now we do have another baseball question with a fella named Fred on the line. And my producer is telling me he too is black, he's telling me he too wants to talk baseball. Fred, are you there? Red Fox on the line. No, I don't want to talk no baseball. Call about the bullies. They're showing 48 minutes of intensity every night. Do you think they can go all the way this year? Willard. Well, you know what I always say about the NBA. Until they can figure out what to do about the ABA, I'm going to be tuning in to Dr. J, Iceman, Skywalker, and those guys. Nothing against Sloan or Van Leer, but do they even have a three-point line over there? What do you guys think? Belushi. They need a new coach. Willard. Really? Now, I always thought Dick Motta was doing a pretty good job, but who do you have in mind? Belushi. Ditka. Willard. Oh, wow, Iron Mike ditching the gridiron for the hardwood. Okay, and why do you think Mike Ditka would help the Bulls? Belushi. Because Ditka is God. Willard. Todd, are you still there with us there, buddy? Shows Farley punching her chest with her fist, with her mouth stuffed with food. Sorry, I'm eating deep dish pizza stuffed with ball and sausage. Willard. Well, that sounds wonderful. Any thoughts on the Bulls hiring Ditka? Well, down 16-17 after heroically coming back in the game. McMahon next threw a 25-yard touchdown pass to Jerick McKinnon to put the Bears up 23-17. Bears. Willard. Oh, boy, hard to get Todd off that third quarter. Anyway, Freddie, we think the Bulls should fire Dick Motta and hire Mike Ditka. Do you agree, Fred? Are you there? Well, it appears downtown Freddie Brown is hung up. Anyway, this is normally the time of the show where we would have on Jeff Dickinson and pepper him with 85 Bears questions, but he's been gracious enough to concede his time to a new contributor to ESP Radio. Let's see the name here. The Professor John Clayton. Are you there, John? John Clayton on the line. I'm here. Willard. Now, John, the producer's just given me a note that you were coming in to talk some football. Now, for our listeners out there, do you have any experience reporting on football? Clayton. Yes, I do. I've been covering the National Football League since I was in high school, so the better part of the last 50 years, including the last 27 or so at ESPN. Willard. Huh. Now, I've never heard of them. Are they on that cable thing everyone keeps talking about? Okay, I'll stick to my 3 channels, thank you, okay? Now, John, They call you the professor. Is that a Gilligan's Island reference? Clayton. No, it's not. Willard. Okay, well, anyway, we're hoping you could give us some insight on who the Bears would hire if Ditka were to leave the team in order to go coach the Bulls. Clayton. Well, Mike Ditka was fired from the Bears after the 1992 season, despite making the playoffs 7 of the previous 8 seasons. The Bears then hired Dave Wanstead, the former defensive coordinator of the Super Bowl-winning Dallas Cowboys. After 6 seasons with 1 playoff appearance, the Bears fired Wanstead and brought in Dick Duran. Willard. Now, I'm going to stop you right there, John. I don't recognize any of the coaches you're referring to. But it sounds like you're onto something. But I did want to see if my esteemed colleagues here had any questions for you. Belushi. I refuse to speak to anybody who fired Ditka. Clayton. Well, I didn't fire him. I merely mentioned the Bears organization did so after the 1992 season. Willard. 1992, wow. Mr. Clayton, you're Mr. Future over here talking about all these upcoming seasons. You're like that Karnak guy on Carson or something. Clayton, you're kidding, right? Willard. Now, how about you, Todd? Did you finish your pizza? Do you have anything to add? Shows Farley's head is passed out into a deep dish pizza slice. Willard. Jimmy, would you mind rousing Sleeping Beauty over there? Belushi pokes Farley, which does nothing. Belushi then gets up behind Farley and pulls her up by the hair up from the pizza slice. With her face covered in red pizza sauce, Farley wakes up 23-17 in the third quarter, having already heroically re-entered the game and thrown 2 touchdowns. McMahon threw a third quarter touchdown, this time to Clayton. Dennis McKinnon. Farley. Damn it! Don't interrupt me! I was gonna get it! Clayton. Sorry about that. Willard. Now, don't worry about that, John. Todd tends to get crabby after he passes out into his pizza. Now, anything else you can tell us about the Bears? Clayton. Well, I can report that. Live from Tom's phone, we're not alive. It's Saturday Night Live, starring an ever-evolving cast that is unionized and refuses to allow their names to be mentioned until their demands are met. Musical guest, Miles Davis, and your host, Walter Payton. Ladies and gentlemen, Walter Payton. Applause, applause, applause. Payton. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I hosted Saturday Night Live in 1987. Joe Montana is still alive, though, so it's just me this time. Sid Luckman comes out. Payton. Hall of Fame Chicago Bears quarterback Sid Luckman, everybody. Applause, applause, applause. Luckman. Hey, Walter. The guy in the back told me to come out here. He said there needed to be some more star power, a quarterback. So I was going to talk about my 4 championships I won in the 40s. Payton. No, it's all right, Sid. I think I got this one on my own, but thank you. As Luckman leaves, Gale Sayers and Brian Piccolo come out. Applause, applause, applause. Payton. Hey, guys. It's great to see you. But I'm kind of in the middle of this monologue here. Sayers. The guy in the back said he didn't like the single back formation look with just you out here. He wanted to go with the T formation. Piccolo. So we figured we'd come out here and talk about how, at a time when professional football still bared a certain amount of race-based segregation, Gale's and I's friendship became a symbol of harmony in the civil rights era. Sayers. And mentioned I had 6 touchdowns in a game in 1965. Or as it's known now, 58.2 fantasy points. Payton. Well, guys, that sounds great, but Bill George, Doug Atkins, and Red Grange come out. Applause, applause, applause. Payton. Okay, great. Even more permanently hibernated Bears. Bronco Nagurski, George McCaffey, Willie Gallimore, Bill Hewitt, and Bulldog Turner all then come out. Nagurski. Hey, Walter, is there any more room? We still got 13 more dead Bear Hall of Famers to bring out here. Payton. Well, here comes one of them. George Hallis comes out. Applause, applause, applause. Hallis. All right, fellas, off the stage. Let's sweetness go to work. Payton. Thanks, Papa Bear. Okay, finally. Now, I wanted to just briefly mention a little bit about my career. I retired as the all-time leading... Phil Hartman comes out. Hartman. Hey, Walter. Payton. Do I know you? Hartman. Well, you should. Have you ever heard of the Heisman Trophy? Payton. You won it? Hartman. No, I posed for it. Of course, I was a lot bigger then. I was on stilts. Yeah, that's it. Too Tall Hartman, they called me. Payton. You mean steroids? Hartman. Well, I took those too, but only for the side effects. Payton. This is starting to sound familiar. Hartman. No, that's impossible. John Lovitz is still alive. Thankfully, for those of us who are dead. Payton. We got a great show tonight. Miles Davis is here. So get ready for some cool jazz and all blues. We'll be right back.